It's time for a special edition of Starbase Summary, October 13th through the 15th, because the prodigal booster has returned home. Starting it off with a launch clip from Mary, Boca Chica gal here. Still slightly at a loss for words with what happened with his launch and catch. Of course, we have a lot of what happened next in this video, but here is Mary's other angle down from the south. Remember, if you'd prefer just the ambient audio, and I wouldn't blame you here, because there is some awesome launch audio in the ambient track, you can change it by going to the settings, click the gear, and change the language. Choose the other language track, and you can listen to the raw audio. Why not both? Listen to my comments once, and then go through and listen to the raw audio. But I'm sure you've seen quite a few clips of the Super Heavy liftoff, and you've probably seen even more clips of Flight 5's Super Heavy landing, like this one. A lot of these clips watch for the clouds. You can see the sonic boom, or the shock wave, I don't know if I should call it the sonic boom, moving through the clouds. And actually, it's not the clouds, it's like the leftover remnants of the plume from takeoff. Just a few minutes later, the booster returning back home and getting snatched out of the air like the Chopsticks. Like the Chopsticks, by the Chopsticks. Any way you slice it, what a show we got. I don't even know how many days ago that was. It's been a blur for me here. That one you might want to rewind on. In the very middle of the screen, you can see something falling from the sky, and it is the hot staging ring impacting. Somebody caught that and sent it to us. And if you listen to the ambient track there, you can actually hear what we think might be sounds created by the hot staging ring returning. Is it a sonic boom? Not sure. But here's the aftermath now. This is one of our close-up cameras. And you can see they had some sort of flammables leaking from some of those connections there. They did go out. Not sure if it posed a risk or not. This is a cool shot. It's like the progression over just a few years' time, with Hopper on one side there and then the booster caught by the tower on the other side. And of course, since they brought it back, they're going to roll out the transport stand. Got some SPMT leveling action there. Watch the big plate in the upper left-hand side of the OLM. You see the plate opening there, the booster QD blast shield opening, and the quick disconnects extending from the, I guess, quick disconnect area there from behind the shield. And then we saw the booster get lowered. Still on the Chopsticks, lowered back down to the OLM. There, the booster quick disconnect closed again, the blast shield on the bottom. Just barely see it there at the beginning of that clip. This is interesting because look at the rail system moving the booster back and forth. Did you see it moving sort of left or right there? Because they didn't catch it in the exact position that matches up with the OLM, so they had to have some system by which that they could realign it and get it back in here. The drone flying around. You can see the ice freezing, or I guess melting, off the side of it there as well. The whole booster seems to be settling. The party at the production site, look at the top. Is that going to be... Wait, that's got to be the second megabay, but that's the high bay, but that doesn't make any sense. No, that's the second megabay. The Mechazilla animation, the laser animation on the side of the building there. It looks like the patch. There goes Mechazilla chomping across. Oh, I do appreciate that they do that. All right, so having staged the booster stand there, the road got opened, and they rolled first up the booster stand and two of the big lifts, and then a convoy. It's like a procession proceeding back to the launch pad. This, of course, is the road opening as well, if I'm not correct. Or if I'm not mistaken, is the way to say it. There's that chine damage. Now, was the chine damage caused by the impact of the hot staging ring? Did that ring come back and make contact down there and rip that off? What else caused that? I don't think we have an authoritative answer. I think we've got a bunch of guesses on it so far. Really interesting to see what exactly caused that. It's just surface damage. The underlying structure does not even seem to be deformed, really. Not in any major way, but the surface skin is sort of ripped off. You can see a tank there in the middle of it. See that high-pressure tank, the black part in the exposed area, but it was protected by that little, looks like a Cylon resurrection ship to me, but, you know, might be a little bit of a reference that not everybody would understand what I was saying if I said it looked like a Cylon resurrection ship. Tell me down below if you get that. Looking up at the top, one of the cool things is how clean the booster looks. It doesn't have soot on it. And here we're burning the methane, right? Instead of the RP1, you see the RP1, that longer, more complex hydrocarbon. That is RP1 that the Falcon 9s use. And then here, the booster burning methane seems to burn way cleaner. Are there other things in play? Is it that there's no entry burn, right? You get the boost back burn, and then you get basically the landing burn, and you're not really doing the entry in between. I'm not exactly sure if it's the length or duration, or if it's just heavily driven by the fact that the methane byproducts are not as sooty as the RP1. Oh, there's the engines. You can see the engines bells. I was looking at the rusty part at the top, and I was like, that doesn't look like engines. This is a rare thing to have happen. The flight termination system explosives being uninstalled after flight. Normally, they're either used during flight, or they end up wherever the booster ends up downrange. Here, they came back. It went up there and actually removed the FTS system explosives. Oh, wow. That's like ATM machine. Sorry. The FTS explosives. There's the dance floor. Of course, the dance floor is that work platform, and the sides fold up. We've talked about that before. The sides fold up to give them a working area, but it needs to fold down so it can fit between the legs of the OLM, right? It's going to turn in. It's going to go over there. That one actually looks like a little miniature sand crawler, I think. You're going to start trying to strip your droids for parts. But here we go. This is October 15th, where they lift the booster back off of the orbital launch mount after securing it there and leaving it there for a couple days after the flight had occurred. Which is really what they're shooting for. Gonna pivot. Swing over to the side. So you get some of the Raptor numbers, right? Somewhere in there, there's a Pi Raptor. I saw a bunch of social media posts from the guys, from the crew, about the Pi Raptor, Raptor 314, somewhere in there. All the way over. All the way down. It does seem like the whatever impact caused that skin to be torn away there in the flight itself and the catch itself didn't drastically affect the structural integrity of the booster because they were able to put it back on the OLM. It wasn't like the mounting points were warped or damaged or something like that. At least not so much that they couldn't use it to sustain the rocket's mass on the OLM. And then the same thing, they swing it over to the side. The transport stand's going to be down below it. Can't see the transport stand. Here, it's behind the tank farm. But here we get the SpaceX sign and hopper and one of two towers and the booster coming back from its successful flight. It's just too cool. I'm still slightly in disbelief that they caught it the first time. I thought it would take us a try or two, right? But bang on the first time, that thing went right to the right spot. You saw from some of the SpaceX footage, the Chopsticks did in fact bounce off of it a little bit. But they bounced off of it low enough, and then they sort of re-secured and came back in and made contact again from those close-up grid fin downward-facing pin cams, right? So we expected that it was maybe going to get a little bit of a bounce, but it bounced low enough and early enough that it had time to maintain contact. I don't even know, looking at it, I don't even think that the bounce would have been enough for it to be a miss on one of the pins. I'll have to go back and look at it in more detail. Maybe we'll do a video about it. I don't know. The other video I really hope we can do at some point is all of the different angles viewing the launch and catch, but before each shot, show a map and show an arrow of where this perspective is from. All right, we'll see if I can't find somebody that's interested in doing that video. Oh, but work always continues. Here's another booster barrel section moving around because, of course, they're not just going to do one rocket and declare victory. They have more rockets to build and fly and catch. What a time. Anyways, thanks, folks, for joining in. My name is John. Thanks to the folks in the field who caught all that. Mary and Jack and the Starbase Live operators catching up with not just the catch, but also what happened afterwards, how they secured the booster and brought it back into the barn. Thanks for watching, y'all. We'll see you later.